Peace, y'all. I'm ICC.
And I'm Kraytos.
Today, we have our top 10 best Tenchu games.
It is the 20th anniversary of the Tenchu series.
Yes, it is. The first one was released in 1998 on the PlayStation, and it being 2018, this is the year of Tenchu.
And it's going to be a great year because we're going to present to you guys some Tenchu videos for the occasion.
And the first one we have is the one we are about to present to you right now. So without further ado, the top 10 best Tenchu games.
To begin our list, we have a PSP game. Number 10 spot is held by Time of the Assassins. This game would have been higher on the list, but it suffers from very poor draw distance when you compare it to any of the other Tenchu games on the PSP, so it doesn't hold up. The good part about the game is that it uses the Wrath of Heaven engine and has a better version of Tenchu 2 mission editor. This marks the first Tenchu game in the series that was not released in North America. However, there is a PAL version, so you can still get it in English. I give it a 5 out of 10.
In at number 9 is Tenchu Shinobi Hakusan. This game was created by fans using the Tenchu mission editor from Tenchu Shinobi Gaiden. This is an official release and only available in Japan. The devs held a contest and they accepted many fan-created levels. After narrowing it down, they chose the top 100 levels and created this game. It would have been higher on the list, but considering it's just fan-created levels and the mission editor had some limitations, it fell down the list. I do enjoy the game, but some of the fan-created levels aren't always the funnest to play. Shinobi Hakusan also has many behind-the-scenes videos that you can open up as you beat levels. This alone is a good reason to play the game. I give this one 6.5 out of 10.
Number 8, Tenchu Kurenai Portable. Number 8 is another PSP game, the Tenchu Fatal Shadows Remake. Its official name is Tenchu Kurenai Portable. This game was released in 2010 in Japan only. No North American or PAL version exists, so you won't find an English version. This game has been modified to fit on the PSP screen, and the graphics have been tweaked. The game would have been higher on the list, but there is no Rikimaru, and I would rather just play Fatal Shadows just because of the controls. The PSP doesn't have a second analog, so for that reason it fell a little bit short. But for a Tenchu game that's portable, it's quite great, and it's a lot better than Time of the Assassins, which has lackluster draw distance. This game receives a 7 out of 10.
Lucky number 7 is the Japanese version of Tenchu 2. And you may wonder why I chose the Japanese version. Well, there was a mission editor in the Japanese Tenchu 2 release. It was a beefed up mission editor. It had tweaks and additions, such as the ability to make tunnels or go underground. So for that reason, I must put it above the other versions. The previous mission editors only had one plane, and that was that. Tenchu 2 also added the ability to drag bodies to avoid detection. This was a very welcome change. However, Tenchu 2 didn't have music like Tenchu 1. It was silent most of the time, and that was a little bit disappointing considering this was following up one of the greatest soundtracks ever made. I give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Our number 6 position is the first Tenchu game released in North America, Tenchu Stealth Assassins. A classic and one of my favorite PS1 games. I did play the original Tenchu before this one. I had the Japanese import, and I highly doubt that it will be released outside of Japan, but to my surprise, it was released outside of Japan. I had no choice but to buy this game and support it. For a PS1 game, the graphics are pretty average, but the gameplay, storyline, music, and basically everything else is well above average. Speaking more about the music, I have said it before and I'll say it again. This has the best Tenchu soundtrack of all time in any video game. This one beats out the original Japanese release because it has 2 bonus stages, but for some reason, they removed analog support. This game receives a 7.5 out of 10.
I have failed.
Number 5 is Tenchu Z on the Xbox 360. This is the first Tenchu on the 360, and it's an underrated game in my opinion. For example, Game Rankings has it rated just above Time of the Assassins. Tenchu Z allows the player to create their own ninja. You do not take control of Rikimaru or Ayame. That definitely makes it unique. This game adds 2 new elements which have never been seen in any other Tenchu game. This includes the possibility of being sensed by your smell. If you have previously fallen into a sewer, you will see a brown haze that surrounds your character, and you can now be sensed by enemies. Another cool thing is the fact that this is the first Tenchu game to care about lighting. You can actually use the shadows and darkness to your advantage. You will be harder to spot while in the dark. This is the largest Tenchu game to date with 50 missions, if you don't count Shinobi Hakusan, because those are fan created. Tenchu Z also has a 4-player co-op online mode, so considering all of these things, Tenchu Z gets an 8 out of 10.
Number 4, Tenchu-san for the PSP. This is another Japanese-only game, but is portable remake of Wrath of Heaven. So if you know Wrath of Heaven, you should be able to play this without knowing any Japanese. This actually includes all the extra stuff on the Xbox Tenchu game, Return from Darkness, although the online multiplayer has been removed. Considering this is portable, it's a great game. This is, in my opinion, the best Tenchu game on the PSP. The draw distance is more than acceptable, the graphics are not bad at all, and remember, this is supposed to be played on a small PSP screen. The controls are great, but then again, the fact that the PSP only has 1 analog stick holds it back some. I would have to say that the worst part about this game is the controls, and it's really not that big of a deal. I give Tenchu-san 8.5 out of 10.
Number 3 is Fatal Shadows. This game was released in 2010, and it's the second Tenchu game on the PlayStation 2. It has many similarities to Wrath of Heaven, but there is no Rikimaru. This game stars Rin and Ayame. The controls in it are fantastic, and this has some of the best controls in the series, as well as some of the best graphics in the series. The music may not be as good as Stealth Assassins, but it's definitely better than Tenchu 2. It's memorable and fits the game perfectly. This game is up there with the best Tenchu games there are, but they removed versus mode and co-op mode. I don't know why sometimes people take a step backwards, but there is Red Blade mode. If you beat the game, then you open up a sort of survival mode. So even without co-op and versus mode, it's still one of the best Tenchu games ever made. Fatal Shadows receives 8.5 out of 10.
The number 2 game on our list is Tenchu Shinobi Gaiden. If you like the first Stealth Assassins, then you will love this game. This is basically Stealth Assassins 2.0. It has the same fantastic soundtrack, but then on top of that, they brought back analog support. You're not just stuck with the D-pad. It also has the mission editor, so for the first time in a Tenchu game, we can make our own stages, and it was great. You can go online, search for people's created missions, then using a dex drive, you can put it on a memory card and play these levels. This makes for a very high replay value. Basically, this is Stealth Assassins, Shinobi Hakusan, and more in a single game. You can't go wrong with Tenchu Shinobi Gaiden. This game gets a 9 out of 10.
Number 1 is Wrath of Heaven and Return from Darkness. Number 1 in my book is Wrath of Heaven. This was the first Tenchu game on the PlayStation 2, and the graphics were outstanding. They hold up even to this day. The draw distance was fixed on this game, so there's no more disappearing characters and no more glitches. The controls have been fixed as well. The game now takes full advantage of both analogs, and you have full control of your character. The earlier Tenchu games controlled more like Resident Evil 1 and 2, while Wrath of Heaven controls more like Mario 64. Wrath of Heaven also has 2-player versus mode and co-op mode. Another great part of Wrath of Heaven is the music. If you know the music from the first Tenchu game, then you should recognize a few tracks that have been remixed. It has more of a modern feel, but I do like the soundtrack to the original Tenchu more. Wrath of Heaven cleaned up all of the major problems from the first Tenchu games, and if you want an even better Wrath of Heaven experience, try Tenchu Return from Darkness on the Xbox. This would be the best Tenchu game in my opinion because it builds on Wrath of Heaven by adding 2 new multiplayer characters, 2 new single-player missions, extra special moves, and the ability to go online as well as graphical improvements. So, if you have a PlayStation 2, go with Wrath of Heaven, and if you have an Xbox, go with Return from Darkness. Wrath of Heaven and Return from Darkness gets a 9 out of 10. These, in my opinion, are the best Tenchu games there are.
And there you have it, our top 10 best Tenchu games.
If you guys agree or disagree, feel free to leave a comment below. I know everybody isn't always going to agree with top 10s.
Right.
It is an opinion-based video.
Although this is a rare occasion, but I actually do agree with his list. You know.
Yes, this is actually, I came up with this top 10 and he kind of just actually agreed with it. So there you have it. If you guys have any ideas on what other Tenchu videos you would like done, this is the 20th anniversary, so we do want to do a lot of Tenchu videos this year. It is the year of Tenchu around here.
It is Tenchu year, and we're going to be playing a lot more Tenchu. I mean, because it's that time of the year.
Speaking of Tenchu, on a side note, did you see Shadows Die Twice, the trailer?
I did see the trailer.
It said From Software.
It is From Software. It does give a spark of hope that maybe there could be a new Tenchu coming out, or a Tenchu-related game.
I don't care about a spark of hope. I have full-fledged, full-blown hopes now. I'm sorry. I'm going to be so disappointed that that's not a Tenchu game.
Yeah, but...
Here's to hoping. Here's to hoping. Everybody, if you, share this video, whatever you gotta do, get views, leave comments saying you want a new Tenchu game. Let's let them know we want Tenchu.
Because I know I definitely want it, so...
I definitely want it as well. So yeah, I'm ICC.
I'm Kraytos.
Thanks for watching, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.